Welcome friends to another r/malicious compliance video. If you're not a malicious soul, prove it by hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below. But with that being said, our first story of the day is by MN Golden Girl. Show them how smart the accounting staff is at trivia games? Okay boss. At the turn of the century, I worked as an accountant for a major sports team. The owner hired a new VP of Human Resources who immediately fired the Chief Financial Officer. The CFO's duties were shifted down the accounting staff, and we were a small staff of 6. We were swamped. At the same time, the new VP of HR organized an all-staff trivia contest between departments. When those of us in accounting saw the email, we immediately deleted it. We were already working evenings and weekends just to keep up. We had no spare time to spend an afternoon playing games. When the VP of HR saw that no one from accounting had signed up, he called another accountant and me into his office. He insisted we form a team and participate in the event. We explained how incredibly busy we were, pointed out the deadlines we were facing, and told him how many hours everyone in the department was working. His face turned red. He stood and pointed a finger at me and said, "This is not a request, this is mandatory. You will attend the trivia contest, and you will show the entire staff how smart the accounting staff is." He glared at both of us in turn. "Do you understand?" We nodded and left his office. Halfway back to the accounting office, my coworker gestured to the restroom, and we ducked inside. "If we've got to do this," she said with an evil grin, "let's really do this." I nodded, catching her meaning. She was a highly educated, brilliant person who was well versed in politics and current issues. I'll call her Ivy League. My talent is a bizarre memory for odd and normally unuseful factoids. The trivia teams had to be 3-player, and we decided to recruit another coworker who knew sports statistics to the point of being overzealous. I'll call him Sportster, and he was the perfect fit because we knew they'd have a lot of sports trivia in the game. We pulled him aside and went over our plan with him. We would show him how smart the accounting staff was, and we would do it as fast as possible so we could get back to the piles of work waiting for us. He was all in. On the day of the trivia game, all the staff met in a bar in the empty arena. Ironically, the VP of HR was called away on an HR emergency, so he didn't show up at all. There was an open bar, appetizers, and a few of the sports team's players and broadcasters attended. The other trivia teams represented ticketing, guest services, operations, security, marketing, broadcasting, IT, the foundation, etc. I would estimate nearly 200 people were there. They were all drinking liquor and filling up on the bar food. The 3 of us from accounting drank caffeinated soda and stayed sharp. And we dominated. The game was structured so 2 teams would play each other while the rest of the staff watched. When a team lost during a round, they were immediately out of the competition. It started as a fun event, with laughter and teasing between departments. During the first round, our team easily and fiercely trounced the competition. The 3 of us stayed deadly serious and focused throughout the game. Ivy League was superb at answering the classical knowledge and politics questions. Sportster covered the world of athletics, and I was able to pull up anything they couldn't get. As our team quickly routed our opponents and moved up in the tiers, the laughter died away, and the fun atmosphere disappeared from the bar. We won the competition, were each awarded a small plastic trophy, and we left immediately, going back to the piles of work awaiting for us at our cubicles. That evening, I worked quite late, quietly plugging away. Our middle manager accountant was in his office working and probably didn't realize I was still there. Someone stormed into the area and went right to the middle manager's office. "What the heck happened at the trivia thing?" It was the VP of HR. The middle manager talked about how Ivy League, OP, and Sportster were so intent on winning, it made everyone else uncomfortable. I realized I had to make my presence known, so I grabbed my trophy and stood, prairie dogging over the cubicles. "Hey, you forgot to tell them," I said. "They tried to distract us by bringing in the players and the on-air talent." I laughed and set my trophy on the corner of the cubicle and said, "But we showed them how smart the accounting staff is." I didn't wait to see their reaction. I just sat and got back to work. In the 10 years I worked for the organization, there were no more all-staff trivia games played. You know what the most fun thing you could possibly do is? Being forced to take part in something that's supposed to be fun. I love being forced to go to a place where I'm expected to put on a smile and pretend that I actually chose to be there. If you were being forced to play a trivia game and you didn't care for it at all, would you want to try so you could shut down the competition? Or would you just kind of coast through it until it was over? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Led and Jerry. You want to change my pay from salary to production goals for 2 weeks? Fine by me. A bit of background, I worked for a really small company straight out of undergrad with about 3 employees and the owner. My degree was in engineering, but I would end up doing procurement, fabrication, welding, machining, shop management, site management, safety, etc. on top of my engineering duties. Overworked and undervalued, I'll say that it was good experience for the rest of my career. Side note to you prospective engineers, an engineering degree is among the few where grades in college do matter and significantly affect your prospects for your first job. I chose to not focus entirely on my studies and paid the price with this bad job for 3 years. Onto the compliance. A big part of this job would be that I was out of town on a job site anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks a few times a year. Toward the end of my time with this company, the fact that I knew I was leaving soon, got a business graduate degree now, really empowered me to not back down on a lot of things. Around this time, my first child was on the way, and sure enough, a job was scheduled near the due date. The owner, while he had a lot of shortcomings, understood when I told him I would not be going. However, he refused to keep me on my regular salary while they were gone. There was plenty of work to be done, so it wouldn't have been a vacation. He instead insisted that he would pay me on how many units of a certain part I produced while they were gone. Inventory was low, and we actually did need the parts. Fine by me if that's how you want to play it. For the 2 weeks they were gone, I only came in about 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and busted out a ton of these parts. Ended up costing him a substantial bit more to pay me his way, and a lot of other things that I did for the company were put on hold during those weeks. Should have paid me my salary, dude. I don't know if OP did or not, but I would make sure I would get that in writing when they said, "I'll pay you per the amount of parts you produce." It's definitely great the owner paid more than what they were going to get with salary, but in a lot of realities, I could see somebody saying, "No, we never agreed upon that. There's no contract, there's no written record," and just totally scam you out of it. This next story is by Big Junt. Only the CEO can authorize loaner vehicles? Okay, not me, but my sister. I felt inspired to share with you since she's not a Redditor. We have a bunch of family issues lately. My mom's disabled, stroke, and my dad had a traumatic brain injury a month ago, leaving my sister as the primary caretaker of her household and my parents. I live about 2 hours away and help when I can. My sister has one car that can haul her family, hubby and 3 kids, and she relies on it every day to take the kiddos to school and pick them up. Sunday night, she was coming back from getting groceries when her car just died. Like, dead. Not starting. If it did start, it would run for about 3 seconds and clip off. Her husband and a nice policeman pushed it off the highway, and later they had it towed back to their house. Monday, she called the dealership she bought it from. The truck has about 75,000 miles on it, but it's an older model, like an 05 I think. Actually, my sister corrected me here. It's a 2010 with a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. When she speaks to the service tech, she asks about a loaner vehicle to get her kids back and forth and take my mom to doctor appointments and such. They told her that they can only give loaners to people with 2021 vehicles, and the only person who can authorize the loaner is the CEO himself. I guess they thought they could scare my sister into shutting up about it, but they didn't realize that they were dealing with a frazzled mama who had been dealing with doctors and hospitals for a month because of dad's injury. One phone call to the CEO later, she's in his office writing a report about the service tech and signing papers on her loaner vehicle, which the CEO did mention they had 5 or 6 to choose from. He also didn't know any policy about having to go through him to authorize a loaner. As she was leaving, she heard the CEO on the intercom calling for the service tech to come to his office. Bottom line, Don't mess with frazzled mamas who are at the end of their rope wondering how to get her kids to school and her mom to the hospital to visit her dad. She might just do exactly as you suggest. So the car dies, it's under warranty, and the service tech was trying to put this off as, "No, sorry, we can't give you a loaner for now," or "My hands are tied, only the CEO can do that." What kind of nonsense is that? Our next story is by Deep Diver 32086. Sure, have your equipment back. Back in the early 2000s, I moved out into the boonies. 1.5 acres, dirt road, etc. Back then, cable didn't make it out that far, so to have TV or internet access, I had to get a satellite dish. It was installed and all was okay, except when it rained or was even a little cloudy. Fast forward a couple of years, and technology's moved out to where I lived. I could now have cable, so I called the satellite company to cancel my subscription and return the equipment. This national company started giving me the runaround, not wanting me to cancel my subscription and making it difficult to return the equipment. They would offer very limited hours for me to return the box and dish, and would only offer to come out during work hours or days, and this went on for months. They finally said to leave the equipment outside my gate, locked, and notify them the day I wanted it picked up. Enter malicious compliance. I complied with their request, boxing everything of theirs up in a cardboard box and placing it outside my gate, notifying the company that it was ready for pickup. Even took pictures of it sitting there with my address in the picture for proof. Apparently, they hadn't checked the weather report for that day, as I had. The thunderstorm started about halfway to my office and continued well into the evening. When I got home, the equipment was gone, and I'm sure they were no longer usable for any purposes other than a boat anchor. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what exactly is the end game for this? Like, were they hoping you give up and you just somehow continue the service? Was it them trying to avoid the costs of coming out to collect it? I'm just trying to figure out why they were so restrictive on it. And our final story of the day is by the Kirsch. Send me out as an errand boy because everyone else is too lazy to go? Enjoy lost sales. This actually happened a couple weeks ago. I work for a company that processes highly perishable items and delivers them to grocery stores. One of the products we sell requires butter. Like clockwork, as soon as the warehouse gets low on butter, they send me out to pick some up from a supply store. I work in an office and it's not my job, nor is it my responsibility to pick up ingredients for the warehouse. But every time they send me because everyone else, including managers, are too lazy to go. The supply store we go to requires a membership card to enter the building. That card had been lost for months, and the managers keep forgetting to get a replacement card. So each time I go, I have to acquire a temporary day pass. The last few times I went there, they've been warning me that they will no longer offer day passes and that the only person who can acquire a new membership card is the person whose name is on the account, who happens to be one of my supervisors. I've been warning him over and over that he needs a new card because they'll stop letting me in the building. Each time I'm given the same answer, "I'll go when I have time." Fast forward to today, the warehouse is once again in need of butter, and they once again asked me to pick it up because they're too lazy to go. This time, I did not remind them about needing a membership card because I've told them about it several times and they're too lazy to take care of it. So I wait until nearly the end of my shift to attempt to buy the butter, and I was once again told that I need a membership card and will not be allowed inside, just as I expected. Afterwards, I returned to the office, telling my supervisor I was unsuccessful because, as I've stated several times, they're no longer offering day passes. It's now past 9 p.m. and everyone else has gone home. My supervisor had nothing else to say, as he knew that this was his mistake for being lazy, and at this point, it's too late to go to the supply store because it's rush hour traffic, and by the time he would get there, it would be closed. Because of his laziness, they weren't able to buy the butter in bulk and had to tell the customer that we will be short on that item. Easily a few $1,000s worth of sales lost due to lazy managers who think they're too important to do anything. After that, they stopped asking me to pick up butter. Although things ended in a catastrophic loss of thousands of dollars, The nice thing about this story is it literally does not affect OP in any way. Everything was unequivocally the supervisor's fault. No matter what OP did in this situation, they wouldn't be able to touch OP at all. You gotta love that. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.